All right. So, per usual, we're going to be talking right now about my introduction to my outline, and to let you know a little bit more about what we're going to be talking about today. Hold on just a second. I need to get my something is up with my screen. Here we go. Okay, so what is the X39 patch? That'll be the first thing we'll talk about. Why does aging affect health? And I'm going to do a little introduction onto why that is next. How does the patch work? And what is copper peptide? And what is phototherapy? That'll be a little deeper dive that I haven't done before. Where do you wear the patch? And then who benefits from this patch? And what'll be fun is I've got a couple of testimonials for us today with some visuals that are pretty impactful. And I know you're going to enjoy seeing these. If you haven't seen some of them, Lifewavers, we do know a lot of these, some of these images and have been, using them to share with others because they're pretty profound. And then lastly, what to expect the first 6 months of wearing this patch. Okay, so what is the X39 patch? Well, it was created in 2019, so it's a relatively new patch. David Schmidt, who is our Lifewave CEO and founder and inventor, spent about 16 years and over $4 million in research developing this patch. And it's been a lifelong passion of his to be able to create a patch that does all the things that this one does. So as you know, I mentioned that we have 9 other patches that I've done product reviews on. And so he's been at this for a long time, but this has been like the granddaddy of all. And it's really an amazing patch for so many reasons. Now, he has also been, he's over 20 years of working with this technology. And the company was launched in 2004. So this year is our 20th anniversary. I say our because I've been with the company for 4 years. But David has been managing this company as well as creating products. So this is David's a real deal. And he hasn't sold out to anybody who's been interested in obviously, perhaps buying him out and or selling him out, selling his product to big pharma or big medicine. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. And I really have a lot of respect for him because he definitely has focused on a product that is saving lives and helping people naturally and safely. And he wanted this product to basically be represented by people that have the same passion that he does, which is to do no harm. And so that's what I love about this product, especially as a health coach that wants to keep poisons out and that wants you to be safe in everything that I recommend. And, I've been in with the company for 4 years, as I said, but I only really started representing and selling the product and being like, an advocate for the product into like my 2.5 years into it, because I wanted to make sure that this was the real deal. Now I was obviously having people wear the patches, so I was seeing results, of course, immediately. Okay, so the patches had clinical studies and is patented. But what I'm going to talk about here is that, we've got this, our cells make certain things for us to stay well. They need certain, what am I trying to say? Our cells in our body need certain nutrients and support to thrive, because if you don't have healthy cells, you're not well. And cells make up what we call a copper peptide, that is the GHKCU, that I'm going to talk about a little bit deeper here, and how this peptide, this copper peptide, is what activates dormant stem cells. And so our patch doesn't do this, but it helps support the peptide to get to work and do the work that it needs to. So remember, this is a patch that supports symptoms, and it is overall wellness that it's bringing to the body. But it's very important to know about this copper peptide. Now, what is so wonderful about it is it promotes better sleep, memory, energy, skin and wound healing, and injury healing, which I'm going to be showing on our testimonials about. And many of you who are using the patches know a lot about that. And of course, also better exercise performance and strength and stamina. Now, that's what this copper peptide is so powerful at doing, and what the patches do in terms of how they support your body. Now, the patch stimulates the skin location of where it's placed, and it has a certain energy flow that helps the body process this patch and what it's doing. But it's a biochemical process that's happening that is really what's causing this to occur. The patch is non-transdermal. It's safe and effective. There's no harm. There's no pain. It's so easy to use. And that's what we all love about it. There's no expert required. It's affordable. And it's when you're talking about alternatives to, promoting your stem cells, helping your cell health, they're very expensive and they're very risky. There's been deaths by injections of these of having stem cells injected, and there's also been a lot of harm done. And so there's another conversation about that in itself, but just knowing that this patch is so safe and affordable and easy to apply, and then no expertise required is why it's so important for all of us that are in the health industry, and we want to see people get well safely. So why I talk about, why age matters when I put that on the outline is because stem cell activity declines with age. And the fewer the stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. And as you age, this is why chronic symptoms appear. And I always say it's not old age, it's old toxins. And again, I go back to why I promote, eating healthy foods and clean foods that are not full of toxins and have poisons in them, because that's what's, toxicating your cells. And that's when you start having all of your symptoms. And it usually happens when you get in, your 40s, 50s, and 60s. And sadly, folks, it's happening now. Oh my goodness, it's happening at, as early. My son had an issue, barely at 20, that specialists were saying normally you don't see that kind of thing until they're well into their 30s or older, and maybe even older than that. And by then it's too late. So we were grateful that it was discovered early, but the symptoms started way too early for someone at his age, which was very interesting. So David Schmidt says here that aging causes stem cells in our body to become less effective. And by age 60, the stem cells in our body show very little activity, becoming slower and releasing less of the growth factors that are needed to repair our body. Now, by the time we're in our mid-70s, we are showing almost no stem cell activity at all, and why older people have a difficult time healing from injury. And obviously, when they get sick, it takes a lot longer to recover. Now, a little quick Lifewave disclaimer here. I'm having trouble speaking today. Sorry about that. Lifewave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. You want to always consult with a physician or other healthcare provider before embarking on a new treatment, product use, diet, or fitness fitness program, sorry. Oh, and I did forget to mention here something. I had a note that one of the reasons why David was so fascinated in the early days about our cell health is because he knew that was the catalyst for aging gracefully, and why he spent so much time in this line of work, because he wanted to know how and why our bodies and our cells are so vital to overall longevity. And so that's why this patch was born, and these products were born, because he really was into, preserving his own health, but he was fascinated by the fact that we could do this naturally and without harm. Okay, so how does the X39 work? Well, I mentioned here, and I mentioned earlier about this copper peptide, the GHKCU. And so it's the holy grail of age reversing. And that's what was discovered when David started on his research over 20 years ago, and why it took so long to get this patch perfected so that it could actually help support this copper peptide. Now, the patch gently stimulates the skin with light, improving strength, stamina, and overall health. The restorative balance of acupressure and acupuncture well-being with the simplicity of this patch. So we're using this patch, which is basically looks like this, and it has an adhesive back, and we're putting this on key meridian points and placements that help, similar to what acupuncture does, and it helps move the stuck energy. I'll talk about that a little bit further, but this non-transdermal patch helps you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way for vibrant health. And that's what we all are enjoying, is just basically watching as we get older, either aging more gracefully and certainly showing signs that, we're turning back the clock somewhat. Now, optimum health and wellness can now be yours with this new approach to improving the way your body fosters the flow of energy. So that's really, this is what this is about, is the energy flow that's in your body that is basically supporting you, and the patch is just basically supporting this. Now, the National Institute of Health has a great website. I highly recommend, if you're not familiar with Lifewave, to go and research it. But they have a whole website of information on the GHKCU and the power of it. And it's everything from increasing collagen and elastin in our skin. And when you see the testimonials, you understand why, to also helping with tissue in, our bones and our liver and our stomach lining. And what I love so much about this is, as a health coach again, and who had leaky gut and had my own health issues, that the health of your stomach and your microbiome in your gut is really what determines the health of your body and the health of your brain. So we have that gut-brain connection. Maybe you've heard that term before. So if you're having a lot of health issues and you have cravings and you're having issues with the food you're eating, that's because your gut is controlling that, not your brain. So you want to always remember, don't feel bad about those cravings and those things, because your gut's messed up and your bacteria are, screaming for more of the sugary processed foods and the chemicals, because chemicals aren't meant to be in our body. So of course they're wreaking havoc and they're causing addictions. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox there a little bit. So I want to talk a minute about what is this GHK copper peptide and who was the one who originated it and how David got all the research for this particular patch. And it's by a doctor by the name of Laurent Picard, and he started the research in 1973. And sadly, I just learned that he passed away last year. And he was, a robust age. He was in his into his mid to late 80s. I think he was 85, 86, something like that. And his fascination is what kind of started this whole research on how we can age more gracefully. And I have a book right here that's from him that I haven't dove into yet, but it's all about skin and hair beauty. And so it had a lot to do with age reversing, and obviously as holding back the time of what we all experience when we get older. And this copper peptide belongs to a group of emergency response molecules, which are released during injury and come to the body's aid. And so this is what we're going to be talking about here in a little bit when I show you some of the testimonials about, injuries and how rapid this patch can help support healing. And it's naturally sent to any type of injured tissue. So that's what's happening when the patch is put on you. It's going to wherever it needs to get the work done. That's actually what stem cells do. That's what your cells do when they're well, is to get in there and heal. And when you're having a really difficult time healing, and obviously you're not being able to get over illnesses easily, your cell health is being challenged. So it's been shown to have a therapeutic role in age-related neurodegeneration and cognitive decline as well. So of course it's critical for your ability with your brain and functionality and memory. And obviously, some of these chronic disorders today, I just heard more and more people are getting diagnosed with Parkinson's. And so this is all neurological issues. And it's very, very sad. And we know it's because of our toxic burden loads. And then lastly, it improves axon survival and maintenance of nerves. And basically what this means is axon survival is when you are able to repair yourself naturally. And they studied a lot, David did as well, on these specific worms that when they lose their head, they grow their head back. And then think of like a lizard who loses his tail and how that grows back. How does that happen? Same concept. And also earthworms, when you cut them in half, they're still alive. So it's quite fascinating. And so that's how this whole research started and now has been brought forth from David on these amazing patches. So it's well recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause specific changes in the body. So that's what this patch is doing. We're going to dive into how this patch works now. When we go out in the sun, a specific frequency of light causes our body to make vitamin D, which is a hormone. Very powerful to know that. I learned that in my coaching years, that it is a hormone. And another frequency of sunlight causes our body to make melanin, which is a chemical reaction that causes you to suntan. So the same concept. So Lifewave's patented technology is based on this same rock solid, widely recognized scientific principles. And so that just gives you an idea of how important this product is and what it's doing safely and naturally, because it's like the sun, and it's our body's made of light and heat and energy. So that's how this concept, was started, was the power of being able to use phototherapy. So how do Lifewave patches support our body non-transdermally, safely, and without side effects? Well, I showed you what the patch looks like. This is a picture of it here on the bottom right, and it's based on this type of phototherapy called photobiomodulation, where this Lifewave patches contain a very specific combination of organic materials and nanocrystals, and they're embedded in this little white part of the patch in like a little web-like structure that are, just proprietary materials that David obviously knows how to create. I'm not a scientist, so I definitely don't completely comprehend the magic of this, but when applied to or near the body, they are activated by your own heat. And I want to emphasize that you don't have to wear these on your body to be able to get the benefit. They can be put on your clothing. You definitely will get the effect, and they can be put on injuries with like gauze and with like a Band-Aid and with casts if somebody who's broken something. So that's what makes this patch so unique and so easy and so effective. Then what happens, when the patch is applied, it begins to emit a very specific wavelength of light, which then stimulates targeted and beneficial biochemical responses in the body. So that's what I was talking about earlier when the light of the sun hits your skin and the effect that it does, same concept. And this is what's so amazing about this patch. All it's doing is it's like a messenger. Some people call it like a mirror, the reflection, but it's basically just telling your body to do what it needs to do naturally and harmlessly. And photobiomodulation is the basis for Lifewave phototherapy patches and technology. Okay, so I usually show patching locations and have a whole repertoire of things about how you can patch for this product, but this one's pretty simple. Lifewave, the X39 patch is our signature patch that we have everybody wear. So if you're new to Lifewave, this would be the thing that I would tell you to start with, especially if you don't have a lot of symptoms. But if you have symptoms and we've got other things we want to deal with some of the other patches, we always say wear this patch because this is the daddy of all the patches. It's going to support whatever else you put on. Now there's 2 locations. You'll see here below the belly button and above and the top of the neck behind your head. These 2 locations are what we call meridians again, and acupuncture points. But the neck area, why this is so critical, they're very vital and important points. This is the governing vessel, and this vessel location is what works on your nervous system. So again, we just talked about, your brain, your brainstem, and all of the pineal gland and the different things that your brain needs to function properly and support your hormones. That's why this is such a vital location. And then below the belly button is called this conception vessel. I always want to call it conception vessel. And this is the reproductive system support, which is your organs and your hormones. So important. And that's why the normal placement is we wear these patches every day in these locations, and a lot of us move it around. Next week, we're going to talk about another powerful patch that is a daughter to the X39, and we rotate those back and forth on these 2 locations, the X49. Can't wait to talk about that one. And in the meantime, I will be talking about how you can patch with the X39 on point of pain or point of injury. And the testimonials will show that. And for instance, when I started using this patch, people were having back pain, they were having, wrist pain, or they were having neck pain or whatever. I didn't know a lot about all the different patches and all the different benefits of them. So we were just using the X39 to patch anywhere, at a point of pain, and it was working. And so this can work very beautifully for a lot of people. Some people just use the X39. And what's going to happen when you do wear this, rapid pain relief, as I was just mentioning, reduced inflammation. It supports wound healing, which you're going to see in a second. And then a lot of people, for the very first time, I didn't experience it like some of my clients do, where they get mental clarity and energy and vitality right away. And so this is, again, one of the patches that are so good at so many levels. And the other is enhanced sport performance and faster recovery from exercise. So a lot of athletes, and if you go back and watch one of my X39 presentations that I did on my YouTube channel, I talk a lot about how Lifewave started, and which was, through basically our energy patch was through a lot of athletes using it. So I highly recommend you go listen to that as well. But, we love this patch for, fitness recovery, my husband especially, and, improved skin appearance. I will tell you, That's probably the single most thing that a lot of people experience is they're you get a lot of no, I get a lot of recognition for the health of my skin. And I was someone that has had skin issues all my life. And I tell a story about my skin issue, and what really had me believe that this patch was so powerful was that it cleared up a 5-year rash that I'd had on my face from a toxic burden loads. I was overburdened, and I wasn't paying attention, and I wasn't detoxing properly. And in 3 months, my skin cleared up. And by 6 months, it was gone, and I never had a problem again. And it's, such an amazing gift to see it firsthand. Then I knew that, oh my goodness, this patch is amazing. I've got to share this with the world, and hence moving forward, becoming a brand partner, and obviously educating others like I am with you today. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I hope that if you are new to me or new to Lifewave, that you're excited about this product as well. Okay, so now I would like to show you, let me see, so there's something else I wanted to mention. I did talk about that it took 16 years of research to get to this patch. So yeah, the skin and organ health is so important with this patch, and you definitely want to be wearing it every day. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll show you some of these patching wound support stories that I think are fascinating and love to look at before and afters. So we'll start up here with this young man in the corner here. From day 1, day 2, and day 5, he had had a bad, some sort of accident, and he said that by the day 5, he had an important interview that he had to go to, and he was so impressed that his face had pretty much cleared up in 5 days by wearing the X39 patch. So you can see, that improvement and how quick that happened. And I wouldn't believe it had I not experienced it myself. But anyway, here is a woman with a foot injury. Let me get my cursor here, that obviously had to get stitched. And this was on September 14th of 2018. And in obviously a month later, you can see how quickly it had healed. And she's got a patch here showing obviously that she could put it on after it had started healing, and to keep the healing and to keep the scarring from going away. And the scarring, the tissue scarring relief is amazing. I've experienced it on my finger. I've cut my finger a couple of times, and I injured my foot. So what I wanted to also mention, somebody asked me this earlier, that that you don't have to put the patch, this is obviously a serious wound here that you can't put a patch on because it's sticky. You can put the patch above, like at the top of the foot, or it can go under the bottom. As long as it's in the perimeter, it can do its work and get in there and get those cells doing the work they need to heal. And you can also put a sock on, and you can put it on top of the sock. I talked about that. It doesn't have to be on the body. Okay, we'll go down here to my dad. This particular story was actually quite frightening. My father lives in Texas. He's 100 years old now, but this happened last year. And here I am in California, and I got a phone call from the caretaker saying your father slammed his thumb in the car trunk, and he's been using the patches faithfully for 4 years with me. That's a whole nother story, and you can go listen to it on one of my previous talks. I do several talks on my dad on my YouTube channel. And so what I had them do, because he'd injured himself pretty badly, and it's cut open here on this one thumb, and here's the bottom. You can see how it was cut in obviously the flesh and the tissue was showing out, had been cut through. So what I told him to do, because they had to go to the emergency room, and it's going to take a little while, to get a Band-Aid and carefully wrap it around his finger, that's the injuries. And then if you had to, get some gauze, wrap it around there, and then put the patch on top of all of that, so that by the time he gets to the doctor, we're starting the healing already. And so they put the X39 patch on, took him to the emergency room, and he got stitched. And I'm not kidding you, this picture here on both of the thumbs was the next day, and Dad didn't have any pain. He didn't experience any pain at all, because I kept checking on him. And he said, get this gauze and everything off of me. I'm tired of it. And he said, I don't have any pain anymore. And lo and behold, he was healed already within 24 hours. And so that's pretty amazing. Dad, he wasn't surprised, because he's been using the X39 on his neck or his belly for 4 years. And well, probably about 3.5 years when this happened. So, he was already in really good shape for healing. And then lastly here, this is a very dear friend, and he is actually my sponsor with Lifewave. He's my upline. He had a beloved dog that was sick, and he was trying to pick him up and move him. And, the dog started flailing. It was a big Labrador, and it split his ear. Now, I'm sorry I don't have a better picture down here in the bottom left. My cursor but it did split his ear, so it was ripped. And so, of course, he panicked and he didn't even think about the patches and he ran to the emergency room. After 2 hours of sitting there and not getting any help, he said, I'm just going to go home. Forget it. I'm going to go try the patch because he knew it was torn. He knew it probably needed to be cut, sealed up. So he went home and you can see here, he put a patch just like this with the X39 and taped it onto his ear. And within, I don't know, I think he said it was less than an hour, he was shocked to see what happened. And this is a little recording here, and I was surprised I could do this. So here he is showing his ear an hour later, and look how it's sealed. He was quite flabbergasted by that, and of course had to share it with all of us, and that was pretty impressive. And of course he didn't have the expense of being at the emergency room, and they weren't able to get to him fast enough. And look at what this patch can do. Same thing for my dad. You know, I knew he's going to have to sit there, so he might as well put the patch on and let it start doing its work. So I have one more. Oops, sorry. One more here that we want to talk about and how the X39 does so much more. So I'm going to start here on the top right because this woman, I mean, obviously she's right in our face with what had she experienced. Now, I wouldn't have believed this either had she had not been someone that one of my dear colleagues, this is her client. And within 4 months of using the X39, this is what she experienced. And it's quite shocking. A lot of us have this issue with our neck, and you can tell that her face still has, you know, it's going to need a little bit more time, but it softened. I hope my image isn't in the way here, but it softened her wrinkles on her forehead, and she just has a little bit more vibrancy. That's what she was saying. She feels brighter, her skin feels healthier, but this was quite shocking. And she's been using it to market herself quite a bit because she says you won't believe it unless you see it. And she was doing another direct sales company, and she said after witnessing this on herself, she said, I'm going all in with Lifewave, and I've got to share this with more people, especially since we're older. So many people are having health issues, and we're aging more rapidly because we're toxicated, and this is a way to help. So that was exciting for her to join the team, go all in. And then down below here, we have another wound issue where somebody had a car accident, and in 63 days, so that's a couple of months, you can see how severe it is. It looked like, oh, it's amazing that handwood didn't get cut off. That the severe stitching that happened. Then here is probably about 30 days into, you can see the redness is still there, but it's healing really rapidly. And then by the end of the 63 days, you can barely see the scar. And so this is what the magic of this patch really is, or this whole system with Lifewave, is the miracles that it can do just by simply wearing it and helping this copper peptide, helping the peptide do what it needs to do to help your cells do the work it needs to heal. Okay, as we go across over here, hair is a big one for a lot of us. I have a lot of hair, and in my particular case, I'll share that in a second, that a lot of people can experience within 6 months, great results. This says 3 months on both of these. So this gentleman on the top here was balding. Here he is with the hair growing in, and within 3 months. And then this gentleman had balding and a real, he was obviously thinning. And then you can see here how his hair has grown in. I personally haven't witnessed that, but I know a lot of people have. And what I've noticed, my husband's wearing it and has a bald spot, and I've noticed it's stalled, but he's not as consistent wearing the patches as I am. But what happened with me, I was an inside job. I had a lot more work that needed to happen on my inside before I started seeing it on the outside. But my hair was staying blonde year round, and it was also longer and not driving me crazy. Usually I had a bunch of gray hairs sticking all over, and it was driving me nuts. And I don't color my hair, and I was having them put in something in it to soften the wrinkles from gray hairs from sticking straight up. I don't have it anymore. It's quite impressive, and that's been 4 years of using the patches and the X39, but I definitely saw improvement really quickly within 6 months. Now, this lady here, this image is used quite a bit. She's an Australian woman. And this took a year for her to go from kind of like, bags and sags under her eyes and more like a washed out look. And just, obviously her eyes weren't as bright and as open. You can see here on day 355 that, we noticed that less bags under the eyes and more brightening, and you can see her eyelids better. But she says, I'm pretty damn happy, feeling better than ever. Pain is no longer an ongoing issue. Hair is thicker, and I'm really noticing an improvement in my skin. And I can only imagine what is going on inside my body. And that's what's so amazing about that the approach is simple, the healing profound, and the results can be jaw-dropping. And I like to say jaw lifting. We always want to be lifting. So lastly, this lady here, another injury on her face. And then you can see here in 21 days, here was probably about 7 to 10 days in, and then close to the 21 days, how much she had healed. And this is, what we're talking about with this rapid relief that can be anywhere from, 7 days to 24 hours to 7 days. You can see great improvement. Okay, so let me look at how we're doing on our time. I'm sure I'm running over here. Yes, what to expect wearing the X39. Okay, I'll zip through this pretty quickly. The first few days, you can have over 4,000 genes, and they begin to reset. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes more balanced. There's lots of testimonials and shares on, clinicals that I've shown on a couple of the other X39 product reviews. Decreased symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Oh my goodness, I can't say how much we use these patches for anxiety and stress. I use it on my father a lot as he's aged. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased, decreased wrinkles, hair growth increases, increased structural integrity of both your skeletal and muscular systems. And you saw that with the woman who was wearing the patch for 4 months, how it helped with her wrinkles and collagen support. And then, of course, in 6 months, this is what I love, is your heart reverses in age. A recent study showed 14 out of 15 people lowered their vascular age by an average of 8 years for their heart health after just 6 months of using X39. So it's pretty amazing. And why David likes to say this patch isn't anti-aging, it's age reversing. So we all love to tout that for every day that we've worn the patch, we are gaining an extra day on the other end. For some of us who've been with the patches for over 10 or 12 years, I mean, they really have a game, they're ahead of the game for us. And I tease my husband, if he doesn't wear the patch every day, he's going to be married to a much younger woman, because I am wearing it every day. So therefore, I'm going the other direction. I told my son, if he doesn't start wearing them, he's going to catch up with me faster than, than the other. Okay. So finally, I just want to end with a healthy person dreams of many things, but a sick person dreams of only one. So just remember how important it is and vital it is to be taking good care of yourself, and knowing that there's products out there that promise a lot, but there's products out there that deliver, and Lifewave is definitely one of them. So thank you for being with me here. I want to just tell you quickly that if you want to watch any of the previous patch presentations and anything that I've done, I'm on YouTube, Suzanne Roth-Paul -Lifewave. And there you can find my Instagram handle, which is @YourWellnessDesigner. My website, secretstoroadianthealth.com. And in my bio, I also have on each of the YouTube videos, I have my Poisons in the Pantry free guide. I highly recommend you get that first and get your poisons out of your pantry. Start the process. It's really important, especially if you are using Lifewave. This will make your health, catapult your health even more if you're eating well and getting these toxins out that are in so many of our processed foods. And then my ebook, and it's obviously very affordable, and you get a $10 coupon code in the free guide. So it's $9.99 for my ebook. So it's a real bargain. It's because I want everybody to get this in their hands. So again, if you want to keep aging and you're okay with the symptoms of aging, then don't try this patch. But I know in your heart that you also want to live a long and vital life. And I hope that you'll consider, and if you're using the patches, continue, but to definitely consider trying all the patches, and reach out to the folks that are on your team to get more support, because there really is amazing things that these patches can do. And why I've done this series, so that you can go back and watch it over and over, which talks a lot about, I always weave in good health. Okay, thank you for being here.